Rebirth, Chapter 3 People Got to Be Free. The rest of the night was spent watching the first three Indiana Jones movies. Then Eli and Cupid fell asleep on the couch watching the movies. I placed a warm black blanket on them, then I put the fire out and laid back on the recliner. I dreamt that I was Indiana Jones, and I woke up with a new series to show the boys, Pirates of the Caribbean, a favorite and classic. But first it was time for breakfast. So I took flour, eggs, sugar, oil, and a bit of baking powder to make homemade pancakes. Whipped it up in a bowl and threw the cast iron on the stovetop. Cupid and Eli were still sleeping on the couch, and Victor was already up meowing for food. I searched around the cabinet and found some salmon that was pickled in a jar. Took out a little blue bowl and popped a large chunk into it. Placed it on the ground, and Victor immediately started eating. I also got him a water dish. "Morning, sleepyheads." All I heard was snoring. "Good morning!" Both boys woke up startled, and I burst out laughing as Cupid's hair was cowlicked. Eli looked embarrassed, and Cupid flipped me off. I stuck my tongue out at them. Victor is already fed. I gave him salmon. He was meowing his little orange head off. Eli got off the couch, and his blue dress shirt and beige slacks were a bit messy. Eli then stretched down to his toes. Then he walked over to Victor and petted him and picked him up. His little orange boy purred contentedly in his hands. As I went back to making and flipping the pancakes, then Cupid came off the couch and walked over to Eli and Victor. Cupid and Eli shared a kiss when they thought I wasn't looking. I just smiled and continued to make breakfast. "Okay, guys, there's 15 pancakes made, 5 for each of us. Dig in." Both boys grabbed the food and packed their plates full of buttery goodness. Eli picked off a piece of pancake and gave it to Victor, who munched away on it. "So, boys, what's on the docket for today?" Eli and Cupid finished their mouthful of pancakes before Eli answered. "I actually wanted to take you two into the heart of Britannia. I know someone you would like to meet." "Oh? Who is it? Or is it a surprise?" Cupid excitedly asked. "It's a surprise, honey." Did I just hear that correctly? Did Eli call Cupid honey? Oh, that was so cute. Eli, of course, blushed deeply. "Okay, well, I'm ready whenever you two lovebirds are." Both boys finished their plates, and I got my leather jacket on, and Cupid took a quick shower, leaving me alone with Eli. "So, Charles, what's it like to be a dad, or in love?" I smiled and pulled out my dab pen, hitting from it and then giving it to him. "Well, you and Cupid are dads already. You're also in love. Are you asking for advice or something else?" He shuffled as he stood hitting from the pen. "Something else." He handed me the pen back. "So, what's up, kiddo?" Eli looked at me with a longing look. "I love him and just want your blessing for anything that happens going forward." I smiled and hugged him tightly. "Of course you have my blessing. Why wouldn't you? You're a sweet guy, and clearly you love each other." He smiled and hugged me back. "Thanks, Charles." I smiled and walked back to make 3 cups of coffee. I knew Cupid liked his with sweetness and creaminess. I liked mine with just cream, and remembered that Eli drank his black. Then, after a few minutes, Cupid walked out of the shower as the lavender and blueberry-scented steam rolled off the door. I smell coffee." Eli walked over with his cup and gave Cupid his, with a peck on the cheek, of course. We all sat in silence for a second as we sipped the coffee. Eli finished his first. "So, who's ready to go into the city?" Cupid finished his cup, as well as I. "I am, sweetheart." Then Cupid and Eli shared a kiss, and Eli was taken off guard and blushed a deep crimson. I popped on my docks, and Cupid did the same. Eli pulled on his knee-high leather boots, and I shot everything off as we walked into Cupid's apartment. Cupid then locked the door behind him as we started to walk towards Britannia. The path was dusted with a light coating of half-melted frost. The air smelled of dirt and freshness. But the smell of oil became slightly more present, and I heard the whoosh of steam hissing in the distance. Then, as we turned a corner, the whole city came into view, and the brass, steel, and copper piping was everywhere. The pipes ran with what I could only assume was water or oil for heating. Buildings were mostly brick, with some ancient wooden beams holding up the brickwork. This is amazing, Eli. So who are we gonna meet? I gotta know. Come on, please tell me. Eli and Cupid held hands as he stayed silent. Oh, I just loved the dynamic between the two of them. Nope, it's gonna be a secret until you meet her. Cupid smiled and lightly punched Eli's shoulder. Can you at least tell me what she does or her name? Eli looked at me for backup, but now Cupid needed to know. Okay, fine. Her name is Brianna, and she is the city's electrical and communications expert. She's also a good friend of mine and family. Ooh, another scientist. So, Eli, how much of Britannia is functional, like with flowing water and electricity? Both men walked ahead of me before he answered. About 12%, so not much. You two are the luckiest in the whole country, in my opinion. You have power and running water. Most don't have either. With the help of you two, we hope to change that. I smiled, and there was a figure in the distance. Eli and Cupid waved as I kept on walking towards who I only assumed to be Brianna. As we got closer, there was a massive red brick building, and I finally caught a glimpse of her. She stood tall, with deep blue eyes and light brown hair pulled into a bun. She wore overalls and a blue shirt with black work boots. Welcome to the city of Britannia. Hey, Eli. Eli broke off of Cupid and rushed to hug her. So, Brianna, this is Cupid and Charles. They're father and son from another universe. It's a long story. Brianna smiled and opened the large metal door of the building as we walked in. The hallways and ceilings were made of brick and wood, and the floor was a single flat stone. It was an ingenious way to build, not against, but alongside the earth. After walking the hallways, there was a large basement with wall-to-wall circuit breakers. This is something that's been in my way. The power is back on, but I'm missing the part that'll make it truly work. Any suggestions? I took off my glasses and walked up to the circuits. Seems that you're just missing a single connective circuit board, and it's this one right here. See, the light is at orange, which means partial flow. You want it to be green. Just flip the switch and it should work. Brianna looked at me, then went to flip the switch. Then, suddenly, the lights came on. There was a meter of measurement on the wall, and it was fully green. Well, I'll be damned. It just needed that. Why, thank you, Charles. I nodded, and Cupid went up to the computers. He started to type something up, and the power suddenly shone brighter. Eli, Brianna, and I followed Cupid over to the computer. What are you up to, kiddo? He continued typing before responding. Checking to see how much of Britannia has power. Seems that it went up to 45%. Brianna came up and asked to see the keyboard. If I can reroute the power to stabilize the flow across the whole grid, we should have it up and running. At least fully, I mean. Brianna hit a few keys, then hit enter. Lights flickered on and off before they shut down fully. Shit. Seems I might have overloaded the system. I'm gonna have to start all over again. Not true. Can I see the computer? I might have a fix for this issue. Pulled up a chair and sat down and started looking into the flow of electricity. There was an overabundance of power, yet the circuits didn't want to function properly. I typed a command into the computer that I remembered from my days at MIT, for when the machines always used to go offline. As I hit enter, the power came back, and the computer showed that Britannia was fully powered. Ah, there we are. I remembered the command from my college days, when Boston used to have thunderstorms or power outages. I just never expected it to be so handy nowadays. Brianna walked over and hugged me. Thank you, Charles. Also, how old are you actually? You don't seem like a typical teen. I chuckled. Well, I'm 65. I just so happen to inhabit the body of a 17-year-old. She looked me up and down. Well, I know a professor that would like to meet you. He's our chief scientist. Ooh, now that was someone I'd like to meet. Where is he located? Brianna smiled. Right next door. This is the science part of town. There are 4 districts in total: food, water, science, and communications. Then a man walked into the basement. His face was wrinkled yet kind, and his short brown hair was parted to the left. His glasses hung down around his neck, and he walked with an ornate cane with a phoenix carved into the handle and a gold tip at the bottom. He wore a white, slightly wrinkled lab coat with blue jeans and a gray dress shirt, and he wore brown leather boots. Ah, Brianna, hello there. Also, Eli. Oh, newcomers. Who might you two be? I walked over with Cupid and stuck out my hand to shake. My name is Charles, and this is my son Cupid. It's a long story. He was a cat, and I was 65. The professor then put on his glasses, looked at both Cupid and I, and he smiled softly. You two smoked in the void, didn't you? We did. Is it that obvious? Cupid laughed as the professor nodded. So, let me guess, you're a man of science, aren't you, Charles? It isn't easy to traverse the multiverse. At least not anymore. Let alone smoking, and both becoming the same species and age. That's an act of profound grace from a mostly uncaring and indifferent universe. I nodded. Yes, but that's why we're here, trying to help rebuild, especially after the past week Cupid and I have had. The professor held my hands. We're all thankful for you putting an end to Berkowitz's soldiers, but I'm also profoundly sorry for what you had to do. I teared up. Please, son, don't hold it in. You've been through hell, as I lived through the initial release of the agent. You did the right thing for the wrong reason. He held my hands tight as Cupid squeezed them. Thank you, Professor. I hadn't had that type of cry since the whole war ended. He let go of my hands. Please, call me Philip, and I understand, son. When Berkowitz released the agent, I was with my wife, Penelope. She started to act crazy, then died in her sleep. The world outside Britannia burned. We were fairly lucky to be a smaller portion of the population. The world died all in under 5 days. 2 days for it to build up in your system. 1 to 2 days of homicidal rage, and then on the 5th day, people just dropped dead. My God, that was horrible. I'm so sorry, Philip. That must have been awful. He let a few tears fall himself. It was. Brianna is actually my granddaughter. She was with me when the world ended. She walked over and hugged him from the side. I was a newborn when it ended. I grew up in the direct aftermath of the war. For years we dug mass graves and buried as much of the dead as we could, but 10 billion is too many. Most of the bodies just decomposed in nature. Cupid gagged and I held him. I looked at Eli. Thankfully, I'm too young to remember most of that. Oh, God, that was horrible. Well, anything my dad and I can do to help, we'll do it. Philip put his hands on Cupid's shoulders. Thanks, son. We need all the help we can get. Eli and Cupid walked outside, just teens needing space, and probably more time to kiss. Brianna and Philip walked with me into the space the next room over. It was a scientist's dream come true. There were beakers and glass vials with flames underneath them, and it smelled slightly of chemicals and the smell of gas. The walls were filled with books and manuals, and there was a 3-monitor desktop. They were off, but the blue light of the monitors was blinking. This is my lab. My home away from home. Charles, you're welcome to whatever materials you need. I have lots more in storage, he said while smiling. Thank you, my friend. Then I started to gather up materials as Brianna brought me over a large duffel bag, alongside a wagon and a box. You're going to need all of these, I just know it. A mind like yours won't be satisfied with a few odds and ends, she said while smiling at me as I shook her hand. Yeah, you're probably right. Hey, Professor, do you have a chemistry set? I want to teach the boys more science. Also, I want to build or reopen a university. We're going to need to educate the populace as well as entertain. Do you have a projector? He waved me over to follow him. He opened the door to a massive storage room, and as the light was turned on, the amount of stuff he had was amazing. I'd be here all day. And I was right. I spent the rest of the day just gathering odds and ends. Ring, ring, ring. My phone started to go off. I answered and Eli started to speak. Hey, Charles, Cupid and I went back to the house to watch more movies. We just started one called The Matrix. Really weird, but good. Just wanted to let you know. Oh, and Cupid spoke to Victor and he misses you. When are you coming back? I finished putting the projector into the wagon. I'll be back shortly. Actually, heading out now. I just had to grab some stuff. Come downstairs and help me unpack in about 15 minutes? Eli then put Cupid on the line. Hey, Dad, missed you today, but Eli and I had our first date. We went to a waterfall on the outskirts of Britannia. It was gorgeous, just like you, Eli. I could feel him blushing on the other end. See you guys soon. Click. Okay, it was time to go back home. Night, Professor. Night, Brianna. They waved as I walked out the door. Oh, okay, now it was time to get high and watch more movies.